She reached across the table, tears spilling freely now. I'll block him. I'll do anything. Please. For the first time since I had opened that laptop, I actually believed she was telling the truth. Not because she loved me. Because she was afraid. Afraid of losing the life we'd built. Afraid of losing the house. Afraid of losing the comfort. Afraid of losing the version of me she'd spent years convincing herself would never leave. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I asked quietly, "Do you know what hurts the most?" She nodded weakly. "No," I said. "You don't. The affair isn't the worst part. The lies aren't even the worst part. The worst part is that you stopped respecting me long before you stopped loving me." Silence settled over the dining room. Outside, rain tapped gently against the kitchen window. Inside, 15 years of marriage finally reached its ending. She covered her face. "I was stupid. You were cruel," I replied. "There's a difference." She tried again. It wasn't supposed to become serious. I slid one final page from the folder. A printed transcript from the voice memo. Highlighted in yellow. "I'll stay until the divorce makes financial sense." She saw it. Her shoulders collapsed. Every excuse she'd rehearsed disappeared. "You were planning an exit," I said. "You just wanted me to keep paying the bills until you were ready." She couldn't answer. Because some truths don't need defending. They simply exist. I stood and walked into my study. When I returned, another envelope rested in my hand. She frowned. "What's that?" "The divorce petition." Her breathing caught. "You've already filed." "I filed this afternoon." She stared at me as though she'd never seen me before. "When?" "While you were at your client dinner." The words landed exactly as I'd intended. No anger. No shouting. Just reality. She whispered, "You planned all this." I met her eyes. "No. You did." I simply caught up. She cried harder. She spoke about memories. About holidays. About birthdays. About our wedding. About the promises we'd made. I listened without interrupting. When she finally stopped, I asked one question. "When did you stop believing those promises?" She looked down. "I don't know." "I do. The moment you realized I'd forgive almost anything." She reached for my hand. I gently moved it away. That hurt her more than anything I'd said all evening. Because affection had become unavailable. Respect had already left. Love followed it out the door. The following weeks unfolded quietly. There were solicitors. Financial disclosures, property valuations, bank statements. No dramatic courtroom scenes. Just paperwork documenting the death of a marriage. Logan disappeared almost immediately. Apparently, commitment sounded much less romantic once lawyers became involved. Rachel called several times. Left long voicemails. Sent emails apologizing. Promised she'd changed. Promised she'd wait forever if necessary. I never replied. Not because I hated her. Because there was nothing left to discuss. One afternoon, nearly 6 months later, the divorce became official. I walked out of the courthouse carrying nothing except a slim folder. The same weight as a magazine. Funny how 15 years can end inside so little paper. I drove to the lake where we'd once taken that smiling photograph. The bench was still there. The water looked exactly the same. Only I had changed. I took the old framed picture from my bag. Looked at it one last time. Then I removed the photograph from its frame. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. Just acceptance. I folded it once and placed it in a nearby recycling bin. Some memories deserve preserving. Others deserve releasing. A year later, life looked nothing like I'd imagined. The house had been sold. I'd moved into a smaller place with fewer rooms and far more peace. I slept through the night again. I laughed without forcing it. I stopped checking my phone every few minutes. Most importantly, I stopped questioning my own worth. One Saturday morning, while sitting in a small cafe with a book and a black coffee, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I still think about us every day. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm truly sorry. It was Rachel. I read it once, then deleted it. No reply. Not to punish her, but because forgiveness doesn't always require reconciliation. Sometimes forgiveness is simply refusing to carry the weight any longer. As I left the cafe, sunlight broke through the clouds. People hurried past, each carrying stories nobody else could see. Mine no longer felt like a tragedy. It felt like a beginning. Looking back, I realized the greatest gift Rachel ever gave me wasn't honesty. She never gave me that. The greatest gift was the laptop she forgot to close. Because proof didn't arrive like thunder. It arrived like an open tab. And that single click didn't destroy my life. It revealed the one I deserved to leave behind. If there's one lesson my story taught me, it's this. Never mistake someone's ability to stay for their willingness to love. Real love doesn't mock your kindness. It doesn't use your loyalty as a weakness. And it certainly doesn't ask you to finance your own betrayal. The right person will never make you feel foolish for trusting them. If someone laughs at your faithfulness, let them laugh alone. Walk away with your dignity. Because peace is worth far more than pretending everything is fine. And sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is quietly close one chapter, so life can finally begin the next.